Hey, Mr. Finance, please help me understand what depreciation is. In order to understand depreciation, let's start by looking at how supplies and equipment are consumed or used by a business. Businesses usually require a wide variety of supplies and equipment that varies from simple pencils and paper to the most complex machinery and vehicles. All of this, of course, depends on the type of business that you operate. In order to understand depreciation, let's take a look at what we call the useful life of these supplies and equipment. Let's consider the following in general terms. A pencil has a short life of weeks, unless of course you get angry and snap it in half. A laptop, on the other hand, has a longer life, usually measured in years. Pencils and other short-lived items are considered supplies since they last less than a year. A laptop is usually considered an asset with a useful life of more than a year and is consumed or used over multiple years. Let's look at that in graphic terms. In this example, we use a 4-year timeline with all 12 months laid out for each of the years. You can see the pencil is used or consumed in the first month of the first year, so it and all of its friends that came in the box are expensed in the first year. The laptop is treated differently and is expensed over the predefined life of that asset. More on that later. In other words, an equal amount of it is expensed in each year of its so-called useful life. In this example, 4 years. Keep in mind though, depreciation does not equal cash. It can be confusing for longer life assets since you spent the full amount of the cash, and it almost seems incorrect to not be able to expense that full amount, thus depreciation. Cash is definitely a different story and will be covered later. What defines the fixed asset and the standards for identifying useful life consistently is set up by independent accounting boards. These include minimum purchase values as well to keep things realistic. Just think of a chair that might last 5 years but only costs $300. The assets are then expensed or depreciated over the predefined useful life of the asset. Using the laptop as an example, if the laptop costs $4,000 or 4,000 euros and the useful life is 4 years, the yearly depreciation is 4,000 divided by 4 or 1,000 per year. Again, keep in mind, cash is not depreciation. You spent 4,000 cash, but only 1,000 will be expensed in the first year. By the way, adjustments are made for months within the year. U.S. accounting rules set asset limits at $2,500, meaning if you spent less than this, it's fully expensed in the first year. Rules vary by country, and having spent years working in Germany, I can tell you the minimum value for defining assets is significantly lower. Definitions vary, complexity varies from so-called bulk purchases, tax rules may change depreciation, but the principle of depreciation remains the same. Simply put, depreciation just spreads the expense over the fictitious life of the asset. Now that was easy, wasn't it? Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more tidbits and questions to help you understand the basics of finance.